Welcome to Intellify. Myself Malavika. Today we are going to learn about the lesson Keeping Quiet. The poem Keeping Quiet, written by Pablo Neruda, discusses the need of maintaining peace and silence. He stresses upon being quiet and harmless to the human beings, animals, and environment. He suggests that in order to maintain peace and harmony, it is required to stop and introspect ourselves. Now, let us solve some NCERT questions. First question. What will counting up to 12 and keeping still help us achieve? The answer is, if we count up to 12 and keep still, it will give us some time to analyze our deeds and allow us some time to think about the results of our activities. People in the world are involved in wars and are also damaging the environment in order to achieve their goals. It is generally observed that most of the troubles of the world are caused by our rush. Keeping quiet and still will give us necessary respite and ensure peace. The poet says it is the time to stop and see what has been achieved and should be enjoyed. This will help us skip the sadness which has become so prominent in our lives. The next question. Do you think the poet advocates total inactivity and death? The answer is no. He doesn't advocate either total inactivity or death. He makes it quite clear that stillness should not be confused with total inactivity or equated to it. Total inactivity brings death, but Neruda has no truck with death. His stillness means halting and stopping of harmful and hostile human activities. By inactivity, the poet means a period of total silence, no work, no disturbance. He visualizes a calm and quiet atmosphere where man introspects and there is productive silence. He doesn't want anyone to become a non-active person. He simply means that we should stop and see the consequences of our deeds. The next question. What is the sadness that the poet refers to in the poem? The answer is, man's sadness is formed out of his own actions and thoughts. It is quite ironical that man who understands so much fails to understand himself and his actions. Man is the creator of all disasters. He is always threatening himself with death because of his thoughts and actions. They are driven by the target of survival and the threat of death. So they are in a mad to accomplish all their works. People are continuously working to achieve their task, even without thinking about their results. They are in a fear of death and therefore want to achieve most of the things before their death. Here he urges them to stop for a while and takes a moment to relish on what they have achieved till now. Everyone here is living a life in which he wants to achieve various things, one after another. But now the poet says it is time to stop and see what has been achieved and should be enjoyed. This will help us skip the sadness which has become so prominent in our lives. The sadness is because we are not enjoying what we have achieved. The next question is, what symbol from nature does the poet invoke to say that there can be life under apparent stillness? The answer is, the poet wants to prove that there can be life under apparent stillness. The poet invokes the earth as a living symbol to prove his point. The earth never attains total inactivity. Nature remains at work all the time, even under apparent stillness. It keeps earth alive. This idea is beautifully illustrated by the following lines. Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. The poet suggests to the human beings that we should learn a lesson from earth. During the winters, everything freezes and becomes lifeless. But when season changes and it's the onset of spring season, everything present in the nature, such as trees, birds, rivers, etc., get life. So here, the poet, by giving the example of nature, wants to say that all the human beings should stop and try to judge their deeds. Next question is a self-study based question. Choose a quiet corner and keep still physically and mentally for about 5 minutes. Do you feel any change in your state of mind? Now, let us solve some extra important questions. First question. Who is the poet of the poem Keeping Quiet? Option A. P. Shelley. Option B. Pablo Neruda. Option C. Kamala Das. Option D. Vikram Seth. The answer is option B. Pablo Neruda. The next question. Sudden strangeness is one of the following poetic devices. We have to find the poetic device of the word sudden strangeness. Option A. Alliteration. Option B. Simile. Option C. Repetition. Option D. Personification. Alliteration is the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words. Simile is a figure of speech involving the comparison of one thing with another thing of a different kind, used to make a description more emphatic or vivid. Repetition is a literary device that involves intentionally using a word or phrase for effect 2 or more times in a speech or written work. Personification is a literary device that assigns human qualities and attributes to objects or other non-human things. In this word, sudden strangeness, S sound is repeated. So the answer is option A, alliteration. Find poetic device in the word cold sea. Option A, personification. Option B, transferred epithet. Option C, alliteration. Option D, metaphor. Personification is a literary device that assigns human qualities and attributes to objects. Transferred epithet is used when the adjective is transferred to a different noun. Alliteration is the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words. Metaphor is a figure of speech that describes an object or action in a way that isn't literally true, but helps explain an idea or make a comparison. The answer is option B, transferred epithet. The next question. What is the rhyming scheme of the poem? The poem is written in free verse. It does not follow any rhyming scheme. Free verse poems have no regular meter or rhythm. They do not follow a proper rhyming scheme. These poems do not have any set of rules. Read the extracts and answer the questions that follow. The first extract. Now we will count up to 12 and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. The first question. What does he expect all of us to do? The answer is he expects all human beings to be silent and totally inactive. He wants all of us to be calm and still. Therefore, the poet asks everyone to count up to 12 in their minds. The next question. Why does the poet ask us to count up to 12? The answer is there are only 12 hours on the clock. Therefore, the poet asks us to count till the clock measures these hours. He wants all of us to be calm and still. The next question. Let's not speak in any language, says the poet. Why? The answer is the poet urges everyone not to speak in any language, as we all know that there are different languages spoken in different parts of the earth, which sometimes become a barrier in our way for peace. So he asks people not to speak, rather they all shall speak the language of silence. This will bring unity among all humans on the face of the earth. The next question is to find words from the passage which means say number. The answer is count. Find words from the passage which means quiet and motionless. The answer is still. Next question. What do you understand by the face of the earth? The expression the face of the earth refers to the various countries on the surface of the earth. As we all know that there are different languages spoken in different parts of the earth, which sometimes become a barrier in our way for peace. The next extract. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hot hands. What will happen if there is no rush or running of engines? The answer is, it would be an exotic moment. We would be all together in a sudden strangeness. No one will be in a rush. There will be no engines running. Everyone will be calm and quiet, united with each other in a strange atmosphere. The second question. What does the poet ask fishermen not to do? The answer is, the poet asks fishermen not to hurt or injure the whales in the sea. No person would be harming any other living being, either for food or to earn his livelihood. The next question. What should the man gathering salt do? They should not harm the whales in the sea and should take care of their injured hands. All the people who work endlessly will get some time to look at their injuries and the damage they have caused to their body. The next question. What does he mean by exotic moment? The poet means that this moment will be cherishing as it would be extraordinary. It will be strange because it has never happened earlier. Next extract is, those who prepare green wars, wars with years, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about, I want no truck with death. The first question. What sort of wars are mentioned in the above lines? Green wars, wars with poisonous gases, and wars with the fire are the different kind of wars which will result in victory with no survivors. The next question. What does the poet want? What should it not be confused with? The answer is the poet is advocating for silence or stillness. Stillness should not be confused with total inactivity. He does not want us to stop our works, but to take some time and analyze our deeds. Next question. Explain, I want no truck with death. The answer is, he says that his vision about silence should not be confused with inactivity, lethargy and idleness. He wants active life, but it must be quiet. He does not want the quietness of death at all. The next extract is, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. The first question. What do people pursue single-mindedly? Which is the better course the poet suggests? Single-minded means having one overriding purpose or goal. The answer is, people pursue single-mindedly on keeping their lives moving. The poet suggests that it would be better if they give themselves rest for some time. The next question. When can a huge silence do us good? A huge silence can do us a lot of good when we are disappointed at not understanding ourselves or threatening ourselves with death. He says that perhaps if they pause for a while, they can appreciate their achievements and their lives would become happier. He suggests that by keeping quiet, we will be able to understand the true purpose of our lives. The next extract is, perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. The first question. What can earth teach us? The answer is, the earth teaches us to be in harmony with others while remaining productive and silent. As the earth undergoes climatic changes in winter, everything freezes, becomes lifeless, but after some time, the season changes again, and everything comes back to life. Similarly, by taking a pause and introspecting into our lives, will give a new meaning. The second question. What remains alive when everything seems dead? The answer is, only the earth remains alive when everything seems dead. The next question. How, according to the poet, will be the ultimate end of a man if the present scenario of wars and conflict continues? The answer is, according to Neruda, if present scenario of wars and conflict continues, there will be complete destruction of humanity. We will all perish and nobody will be left to celebrate the victory. The poet also requests people not to involve in wars, as there is no benefit in achieving such a victory in which no one is left alive. He says so because wars and environmental damage will lead to no life on earth. Now, let us solve some short answer questions of 2 or 3 marks. First question. Why does Pablo Neruda urge us to keep still? Answer is, the poet is convinced that most of human ills and miseries are caused by man's hurry and rush to do things. The poet wishes that we may withdraw ourselves from our desirable actions and keep still for a moment. Stillness is essential for calm reflection and quiet introspection. Thus, the poet requests everyone to count till 12 in their own mind and to stop for a while. He wants everyone to stop and calm down. Basically, he wants everyone to stop for a while in order to see and feel their achievements and how much they have lost for sake of obtaining such materialistic things. The next question is, why shouldn't we speak in any language and not move our arms so much? The answer is, the poet urges people to stop speaking in any language. They must speak through their hearts. There are different languages spoken in different parts of the earth, which sometimes become a barrier in our way for peace. So he asks people not to speak. He also wants us to stop moving our arms. By using the word arms, he means that weapons which are used by different countries to raise a war against people. For at least one moment, no one shall speak or move his arms either to signal or to fight. So basically, poet is demanding peace from all of us. What alternative does Pablo Neruda suggest instead of indulging in wars? The answer is, instead of indulging in wars or giving way for wars, the people must come out in their clean clothes and must walk with their brothers. They should go out for a walk under the shady trees and enjoy themselves doing nothing. This would bring the feeling of togetherness among them. He wants them to put on new clothes, that is, to adopt a new approach towards life and to realize that killing so many people is not a victory. The next question. How does the poet distinguish stillness from total inactivity? Why does Neruda so I want no truck with death? The answer is, according to poet, total inactivity only means a temporary stillness, whereas death means the end of the life. No track with the death means that the poet does not want any association with death. He only urges mankind to hold harmful activities for a few seconds. Stillness should not be confused with total inactivity. Life goes on as usual. There can't be anything like total inactivity. The next question. Justify the title Keeping Quiet. The answer is, the title of the poem is quite appropriate and logical. It suggests the necessity of quiet introspection. The people of the world are overactive and always on the move. Their activities have caused untold troubles and sufferings. Keeping quiet will do them a lot of good. It will save them from many harmful and violent activities. Moreover, it will help in creating a feeling of mutual understanding among human beings. He wants people to adopt a new approach towards life and mankind. He says that you should treat your enemy like brothers and promote peace and harmony in the world. He suggests that by keeping quiet, we will be able to understand the true purpose of life. The next question. What can Earth teach us and how? The answer is, Earth teaches to be productive even when in silence. The Earth nurtures all living beings, plants, animals, and quietly maintains the balance in nature. It helps in the rebirth of a new life. We should learn to be productive yet silent. As the earth undergoes changes in winter, everything freezes, becomes lifeless. But after some time, the season changes again and everything comes back to life. Similarly, by taking a pause and introspecting into our lives will give a new meaning. We will be able to understand the purpose of our life. It will be like a rebirth of the soul. So here, the poet, by giving the example of nature, wants to say that all the human beings should stop and try to judge their deeds. They can try and make their life better with calmness, peace. The next question. How, according to the poet, our state of mind will be changed if we maintain silence and suspend activity for a while? The answer is, the poet believes that if we all stop for a moment to introspect and realize the impact of our action, then we will be able to understand the need to be together and develop a mutual understanding for the survival on earth. This realization will bring a change in our state of mind and our attitudes towards each other. He suggests that by keeping quiet, we will be able to understand the true purpose of our life. The next question. Find out literary devices from the poem. We can see anaphora. In the sentence, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second. Anaphora consists of repeating a sequence of words at the beginnings of neighboring clauses, thereby blending their emphasis. We can find alliteration in the words we will, we would, sudden strangeness, his hurt hands, was with, clean clothes, we were, so single-minded. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginnings of words or stressed syllables. Next, we can find assonance in the sentence. Now, we will count to 12, not move our arms so much. Assonance is the resemblance in the sounds of words, syllables, either between their vowels or between their consonants. Enjambment can be seen in the sentence, and for once could perhaps a huge silence might interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Enjambment is a term used in poetry to refer to lines that end without punctuation and without completing a sentence or clause. We can find repetition in the sentence. Words with gas, words with fire. Repetition is repeating words, phrases, lines, or stanzas. It is used to emphasize a feeling or idea or to develop a sense of urgency. Next question. Write down the theme of the poem. The answer is, the poet tells about the urgent need of mankind to take a break in our life, to put an end to all destructive activities, the need to live peaceful coexistence with nature, to stop harming animals and avoid annihilation of the human race. The poet discusses the need of maintaining peace and silence. He stresses upon being quiet and harmless to the human beings, animals, and environment. He suggests that in order to maintain peace and harmony, it is required to stop and introspect ourselves. Now, let us discuss some long answer questions of 4 marks. First question. Write in brief the summary of the poem. Answer. The poet wants everyone to count up to 12 in their minds. He wants every one of us to be calm and still. The poet wants that one should not talk in any language. He means to say that everyone in the world would be quiet for few seconds. There will not be any rush. The poet wants that the fisherman should not hunt whales in the sea. He also wants that the persons who gather salt should suspend their activities for a few seconds. There are wars with fire, chemical weapons, and poisonous gases. This will bring so much destruction, hence it can be called victory with no survivors. He says that by keeping quiet for a few seconds, they can understand the true purpose of life. The poet wants that we should not be self-centered and simple-minded. The poet says that the earth can provide us all types of guidance. He says that earth appears dead and lifeless in winters, but when the summer season comes, everything again comes to life. Similarly, after taking a short pause, we can restart our activities in a new way. Therefore, the poet asks the people to take a pause, count up to 12, and walks out of the scene. The poet discusses the need of maintaining peace and silence. He stresses upon being quiet and harmless to the human beings, animals, and environment. He suggests that in order to maintain peace and harmony, it is required to stop and introspect ourselves. The next question. The poet longs for a dream world. What kind of a world does he visualize? The answer. The poet longs for a calm, quiet, and peaceful world, devoid of all forms of violence, as he visualizes togetherness of the people in a casual moment of silence. He says that by keeping quiet for a few seconds, they can understand the true purpose of life. In this short moment of silence, we will be able to reflect on our actions and their possible consequences. Just like all the creations of nature undergo a rebirth with the change of seasons, similarly, keeping quiet will be a rebirth for the human soul. It will give a new meaning to our life. This moment will bring an end to all the destructive activities in the world. The fishermen will not be killing whales, and the men gathering salt will give rest to their injured hands and body. Environmental degradation will stop. The poet hopes that it will be a dream world where man will be able to come out of his self-centered and single-minded attitudes to gain moral peace in a state of silence. Thank you.